Here we are a few weeks before the election of president. And I'm looking back on some of my experiences recently, and one I did not like. I have a mission statement in life to share Christ's commands of love. And that's to love everyone without exception. There's something called push-button issues. They normally revolve around abortion. I'm pro-life. But to me, a hero of pro-life is a policeman, Brian Irons. His child died in infant birth syndrome. They adopted a crack baby that had learning difficulties. It took longer to help him develop. Then they adopted his sister. Compare that to people who demonstrate and do nothing more than that. Push-button issues at times can be, they'll pay attention to those two issues. They'll pay no attention to Christ's command of love, for example. They generate hate. Look back to Matthew, who's like literally crucified on a fence. I'm not sure, I think it was South Dakota, left to die in freezing weather because he was gay. And this is a result of hatred that also comes about by politics. You have more gay children committing suicide, a much higher percentage, because they're bullied. You have more bullying in school because parents are not teaching their children to love one another. Now I'll share something with you. I go to church every day and generally sit in the back pew. And I lead the rosary after that. Right now we have very few people who attend that. And the man was over on my right side, and his name was Leo. Yeah, I believe he's from the Carmel Mission. And there are times when he'll go to shake hands, and he'll try to crunch my hand. My hands are strong. As long as I'm prepared for it, I can meet that. This one day, I met what would be a crushing handshake with a firm handshake of my own. And he took my hand. I sometimes say when I'm walking, I have a certain amount of cushions in my shoes and I have a dislocated bone and other problems. And so I will brace my knee or something up against the pew while I'm holding hands with the other people. And I feel I am a conduit of God's love. There have been a number of affirmations that demonstrate to me and even to other people at times when good things happen to them, and other times when bad things happen to them, when they create problems for me. But in this particular case, I met his firm handshake, and he takes my hand and pulls it down like this, and I literally fell over the pew a little bit. I did not fall into the other pew, but I was down in front of him, like he pulled me down. And I told him, I said, what you did was an unholy act. I've seen parents teach children of that at the Carmel Mission. When I first became outspoken about child abuse by pedophilic priests, I was being treated differently. I didn't understand it. Thought I just didn't know what was going on. And there was a man by the name of Victor Greco. My kids went to school with his kids. But he's introducing me to another one of his kids. And just like Leo tries to crush my hand, this is a college-age kid trying to mash the hands of a man who's 70 years old plus. And I was not prepared for that, and frankly, he caused me pain. But he was teaching them to punish those who speak out about church problems. Well, that's not the way it has to be. And when Leo did that, I did not return to my seat. I did not want to be near that man, so I stopped earlier at one of the front seats and When I got up to go to the sanctuary to lead the rosary, I heard a voice saying, "George, George." I turned around, it was Leo. And he said, "I want you to forgive me for what I did." Then he showed me his hand, and his hand was bleeding. I'm not sure, but it seemed like it was a self-inflicted wound. And I was calling him on what he was doing, and what was done years ago too. It's a consistent thing, evidently by, I think it's a conservative group in the church. There's some people who accepted Pope Francis, and there are others who have not. And there are others who have just been very involved in push-button issues, but not about other aspects of people's needs. And so I'm thinking a bit here, and when I first saw them move priests around, I could not help but think of when I was 9 years old, and when a pastor that I wrote about on my homepage, but I called him Father Spiderfingers, he put his hands in my pockets and was playing with my private parts. I was 9 years old. I took his hands out and rebuked him. And after that, he called me Jew boy. My father was a Hasidic Jew who was missing in action in 1942. He gave his life for his country. And that's for freedom too, not restricted things done by churches. You have to work within the structure of the government. When people get out of the structure of law and order, and you'll hear of law and order, let's take Trump. He said he's for law and order. But he's going to create hatred between races. You may have a repeat of Oklahoma City blast. When that first happened, people said, it must be the Muslims. It was Americans who had distrust for their government. And I think this is what Trump is creating, like it or not. And his attitude toward having people come into the country, he sees refugees as they're all terrorists. Their children, their mothers, who are fleeing a country that's in desolation. But anyway, I do have an attitude and approach to things. I would call him to be a peacemaker among the children of Abraham. I had a beautiful painting, and on the painting I wrote, in fact, I'll get the painting and share it with you. In this area here, it says, "May the light of God's love enter the hearts of all of Abraham's children, and we live in peace and love." Now, people like this painting. And I gave out a number of pictures of it. And it had to do with praying the rosary for peace. And this was at an outdoor rosary for peace. But when I'm giving out the photos of the painting, this one man said, "I saw what you wrote on that painting. I don't want one." When I went out to the car to leave, to bring the painting back, somebody had taken a whiskey bottle, and there were large shards of broken glass right behind my car. I had a blowout the next day. If it happened on one of the windy roads, someone else could have gotten killed in addition to myself. It happened in a safer place, which I'm thankful for. But this is also an indication of, I've experienced people, they appear to be very holy and saintly and that, but when they're praying, if they mention gays, the voice will change from angelic to venomous, like hatred. That's wrong. We should love everyone. We should not judge people. Over the years, they've created problems for me. My home currently was supposed to be auctioned off today. Well, I'm very much into Christ's 5 wounds, and get a 5-day reprieve. They pushed it back to the 18th. My attitude is, I will go where I should go. I will do God's will. I work with people. There are people who are supposed to die on occasion. They keep on living. There's one man, you can go to my homepage, www.blightsforart, and there's a video of Ruben Baez. Had terrible shakes, he couldn't do anything. I prayed with him for about 1.5 years. Said you have to be patient and persistent. Something happened and he walked perfectly. At the same time, there was a lady who had tumors. They disappeared in the same rest home. It was Carmel Hills. Oh, wait a minute. Gotta think. Yeah, it was Carmel Hills. I visited a number of them, and at 80 I have to organize my thinking once in a while. Well, somebody paid his way in the whole family, his ex-wife, his young son who was 12 or 13, handsome young man, to go to Paraguay. This man who did a video that you'll see on there, did 2 videos. The first video said, a man, Ruben Baez, a man in need of a miracle. Next one, Ruben Baez found his miracle. And I just happened by when the man was doing that video, and Ruben said, thank you, George, for praying for me. And I had a picture of that, and I was doing a holistic workshop. And I asked permission to the pastor, Father Seamus, if I could have the brochures in the church library. And he said, yeah. Then when he saw his name on the brochure, he said, I can't have my name on anything commercial. I said, Father, this is not commercial. I'm in danger of losing my home. I'm trying to raise money so I don't have to take in renters who are drug addicts and other things. There's sneak ladies in the house. Then he saw the picture of Ruben Baez on my brochure. When he saw that, he said, I want that destroyed. People do not want to know of any sense that the work that I do has profound effects on people at times. I love what I do. I do a lot of work in rest homes, private residences. I do it all free. I'm good at hospice care too. I can prepare people to cross over with joyful anticipation rather than fear. I took care of my own mother till she passed away at 99. So I have some training in that area. I think there should be an investigation as to who paid the way of Ruben and his family to Paraguay. They did another video at that time of an Indian healer, that's termed Indian healer. The Indian healer said Ruben was not a spiritual person, this, that, or what have you. And well, the man who did that video, he came home and had it posted. He ended up having a seizure. He recovered from that, but there's a period of time that he could not drive. I do Bible reading every day. For some reason, the Annunciation of John the Baptist was coming up over and over again in all 3 Bibles. And in the story, Zachary, who was the father of John the Baptist and Elizabeth, they were old, and he didn't think that they could have a kid. And he lost his voice. He could not speak. Angel Gabriel said, you will have a child, and the child should be named John. And then when the child was going to be christened, Elizabeth said the name will be John, and in the Jewish custom it should be a family name. And John, they don't have a John in the family up to that time. And so when Zachary wrote out the name John, he could speak again. Now it's a little bit strange, but the wife of the man who did the negative video, which they removed, and when they removed the negative video, he got better. And also, his wife's mother is recuperating now. She had an operation, and she had blood clots in her legs. It was a knee operation, I believe, at Chomp, and she's a dear lady, and I like people who have a Hawaiian connection, and she does too. But anyway, I want you to think really hard. And one thing that bothers me about the coming election, I'm trying to stay out of all of that. The Bible reading that comes up all the time is, render unto Caesar the things that are Caesar, and to God the things that are God. So bring God into your mind when you're contemplating who you're voting for. I did quite a bit of writing at the other election we had, whatever, I don't know, 4 or 8 years ago. And I decided to stay out of politics, but I didn't want politics to come into churches either. Anyway, God bless you. And think hard, pray, and vote for someone who will bring peace, who will teach love and compassion. I do not see that in Mr. Trump.